Yes, people, we're back here again. We're live. We're talking more transfers. We are talking Gyokeres, Liverpool, potentially interested in Florian Wirtz. Manchester City not only want Florian Wirtz, but they also want Morgan Gibbs White. Is the Cunha deal becoming more advanced? And is Chelsea a strong contender for SESKO? So we're going to dive into all those topics. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, make sure you're smashing up the like button, you're subscribing to the channel, and yeah, we're gonna chat, man. But yeah, big up, bro. Wirtz, can't see your hope. Yes, lad. You seen the Wirtz links? Don't believe it, but who knows? I mean, bro, we're gonna talk. We're gonna speak about Mr. Florian Wirtz. But yeah, we're gonna start off with Arsenal. Now, the latest around Arsenal is also including SESKO. Now, this is what was released. If I can sort this out. Yeah, make sure you smash up the like button. So this is what released. Sky Sports have said that Arsenal are interested in RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko as well as Victor Gyokeres. Now, which one's the better option for Arsenal is the question. I've seen a couple of people debate this. I personally think Victor Gyokeres is 100% the better striker. But it's whether he suits and fits that Arsenal system. And when I watch Arsenal, they're constantly crossing the ball, trying to get the ball into the box. I think Benjamin Sesko is probably a stick fit better than Victor Gyokeres. In the way Arsenal cross the ball, he's an aerial threat. He could Right, we're back. What happened there? It literally, everything just fucking crashed. But hopefully, I think can somewhat hold the signal today. I don't know what it is. Like my Wi-Fi today has just been so bad. Like, I genuinely don't know why. But yeah, I think Benjamin Sesko is actually a better stylistic fit for Arsenal. I think Gyokeres is by far the better striker. His performances, his numbers, etc., have been proven that this season. But that doesn't always mean that player will do better than as another player. For example, like for Liverpool, we need good, energetic fullbacks. If we go and sign two defensive styled fullbacks, is that stylistically better for us? No. I know that's just a random thing that just kind of popped to my head. But I think Gyokeres will get done. I think The only real competition you have there is obviously you've got Chelsea potentially are linked with Gyokeres. You've got Manchester United also in the hunt for him. A lot of teams are going to be interested in Gyokeres, because of the release clause that can be available this summer. But I feel like Arsenal with Andre Berto, they're bringing him in. I feel like he's probably going to want a Victor Gyokeres more. I feel because there was strong links for Arsenal in January regarding SESKO, and I feel like if they didn't have Andre Berta and it was simply down to Mikel Arteta, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got a SESKO. I feel like SESKO's on the bottom of everyone's team barrel. I think his numbers for the price, I just don't think is worth it. I think for 13 goals in the Bundesliga, especially when it's high line, fast pace up front, you'd expect to have much more improved numbers, especially when you're going to be buying a player for upwards of £70 million. And I feel like he's going to be that guy where when all the strikers, the top strikers are not available, like your Osimhen's, your Gyokeres, who are not on the market anymore after they've been snipped up, I feel like that's when you see Benjamin Sesko probably get a move. That's just nothing on him as a guy. I just think there's so many other better strikers than him. But that's just not all. Chelsea are also interested in Benjamin Sesko as well. That is not all. I'm going to pull up the link regarding Chelsea and SESKO. So let's pull up this. So Chelsea. So Matt Law, Chelsea will attempt to sign a new striker with Benjamin Sesko amongst targets. So he is one of their front runners to be that guy in the Chelsea shirt. Now, Nicholas Jackson just simply hasn't worked out, in my opinion. I just don't think he's worked out. I think Chelsea need that next level striker now to try and take him to that next level. And in my opinion, they should go for Victor Osimhen. They should go for a Gyokeres instead. Because I feel like you're going to have the same chances with Jackson. Can you really rely on spending 70 million on SESKO and relying on him putting the ball on the back of the net? No, you cannot. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Chelsea do within this transfer striking market. Again, I just think 13 goals around that mark in the Bundesliga is just very poor for 70 million. Me personally, if you can get SESKO for 40, 50, plus another striker, like a top-level striker, I would really understand it, because as a backup or as an overall depth, I think that's good for the price. But for the overall price to become your main starting striker, I differ to think if that's actually good value or not. But it's going to be interesting. But regarding for Arsenal, though, back to them, I did see Arsenal about spending money. Now, this is what Sky Sports have had to say. Arsenal only have 100 million to spend on summer signings. Potential sales could increase the budget. So they have 100 million. And bearing in mind, they have literally just brought in Martin Zubimendi is going to cost them 50, 60 million pounds via the release clause. So I suspect that Arsenal probably will sell maybe a Martinelli this summer or something like that to release funds to be able to get better players, because 100 million is simply just not going to be enough for Arsenal. They're going to need to spend, in my opinion, if they want to go and win that league title, they're going to need to go and spend 200 million. I think you could argue it now. It really does depend on certain situations. Like Gabriel's had links to Saudi Arabia. If those links are to be true, you then need to get a centre back. I think Arsenal probably need to look at a number 10, because it looks like Ethan Enquiries is just not the particular favourite right now at the club. And I just don't think Martin Odegaard is good enough, in my humble opinion. That's just my opinion. But for £100 million, it looks like you probably are going to have to sell players to be able to reinvest that back into the squad. Now, obviously, as just said there, that potential sales could increase the budget, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, make sure you are smashing the like button on the channel. Let me just check how many likes we're currently on. But yeah, make sure you are smashing up the likes and subscribing to the channel. They need to sell Odegaard, IMO, and Martinelli. Bring in Simmons and a striker, even a left winger too. Yes, I would agree. I would honestly agree that they need to do that, because if I'm honestly them, you sell Odegaard and you go and get a better 10. Have you seen Kulusevski injured? I did see something about that. Yes, that's a big miss for Spurs, man, in the Europa League. That is peak. But yeah, make sure you're smashing up the likes. Arsenal need to spend 250 mil if they want to win the title. Need 3 or 4 players. Thoughts? Arsenal do need 3 or 4 players, in my opinion. I think they need a striker, which is the obvious, and that's been the obvious for the past year or so now. They also need a left winger. I don't know what's happened to Martinelli. I think he's actually played well in recent games, but what's to say that he's going to revert back to type come the start of the next season? Do you know what I mean? So you have to take that into consideration. I don't think Martin Odegaard is actually really good enough for Arsenal. I think when he first came in for about a year and a half or so, I thought he was good. And I would say since the start of the back end of last season, I don't rate him. I've not rated him because, and as a captain, by the way, I think he's been shocking. If I supported Liverpool and he was my captain, I'd be like, get him out. Sack him of the captaincy, because the fact that he's captain of a football club and you've had legendary captains who have done well for Arsenal, and you employ Martin Odegaard. When I watch Odegaard, he runs away from the ball. He doesn't want to take players on. He doesn't want to actually try and get the team over the line. That's what a captain's requirement is to do. When you're in a title race, and you're 1-0 down at, West Ham away, for example, and your captain just is a no-show. And also, by the way, he actually gets hooked off a lot. I've never seen a captain get that much subbed off in my life as a neutral. Like, that's mad. Do you think Steven Gerrard would be getting hooked off all the time? Even Jordan Henderson, when did he ever really badly get hooked off? Maybe to try and change the stylistic of the game or the tempo, or try and tweak a couple of things. But he's meant to be your creative spark. He's meant to be the driving force in that midfield. Declan Rice should be the captain. So I think Arsenal need to look at that area. And obviously, again, the Gabriel Magalhaes situation, if the reports, do circle back up about that, William Saliba, I'm sure Real Madrid, I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid try for Saliba this summer. I know they're trying to go down the route of trying to pick up players on free contracts. But with 2 years left to go, why not try and, put a cheeky bid in? We've seen Real Madrid, people act like Real Madrid don't bid big for players that we have. We've seen Real Madrid, when they tried to get Kylian Mbappe, they bidded £198 million. Real Madrid have money to bid. It's not just out of choice, that just that their new model. When if they like a player, they'll wait till, let's say they like a player and he's got a year or two left to go. They'll just wait because they can get him for free, big signing on bonuses. They can say, here's signing on bonuses, here's big contracts. Look, we win trophies as well. Come and join us for free. That's like their transfer strategy model. And it works. So I won't be surprised when this summer you start seeing big reports that Real Madrid are potentially talking to Saliba's agent. They're talking to Saliba personally over a move. Whether that's this summer, next summer, or flipping going on a free in 2027, which I think that's when his contract is up. So, I mean, I think there's a big situation for Arsenal, and this is why they need to win now, because their players are going to start to leave. Bukayo Saka, for example, look at the teammates he's playing with. Harry Kane has just won a trophy. Trent Alexander-Arnold's won a ton of trophies. Henderson's won a ton of trophies. John Stones, the Man City boys are in the England camp. Kyle Walker, etc. They've all won a ton of trophies. So you're seeing the players like Bukayo Saka and stuff, you're thinking they're not going to be thinking, at some point, I've got to move on. People thought Harry Kane would never leave Tottenham. Oh, yeah, I'm going to stay here for my career. Tottenham through and through and all this. They do eventually leave. Yeah, it might take a couple of years. But after when they start to realise that, oh shit, I need to start winning trophies, if that's what I actually care about. Do you know what I mean? So it's a big summer for Arsenal, for ingoings and for outgoings, in my opinion. What should we talk about next? We've done the Cunha. Let's talk about the Liverpool Wirtz stuff. So look, I was out in town earlier and I got sent something regarding Florian Wirtz. So let's scroll up. So according to Christian Fulk, there was a meeting with Liverpool and Florian Wirtz on Tuesday in England. Now, there was reports that Florian Wirtz, his agents, his camp and everything was obviously in Manchester talking to Manchester City, which the sources state there was. But there's now sources stating that he was also talking to Liverpool. Now, you can take the news with very much of a pinch of salt, in my opinion. I won't, get overly gassed as yet. But man, could you imagine if Liverpool actually signs Florian Wirtz? We need to replace, people are forgetting, we need to replace that creativity that Trent Alexander-Arnold possessed. Remember Mohamed Salah now, he's one of the most creative sparks in the team. As he's getting older, we need that next guy that's going to be that creative guy in the football club and in the team. And Florian Wirtz would tick every single box, man. Oh my days. The wages wouldn't really be a problem because he's on about 86 grand a week by Leverkusen. It's just the transfer fee. Like, how much are we talking for Flying Wirtz. People are acting like Liverpool have no money. People are acting like Liverpool won't do this. Liverpool were willing to break the British transfer record for Moises Caicedo in 2023. Liverpool broke the transfer record for Virgil van Dijk. They broke the transfer record for a goalkeeper in Alisson Becker at the time, before obviously Kepa went to Chelsea. So we're acting like Liverpool haven't broken records. We're acting like Liverpool aren't willing to spend the big bank when they want to. You know, they have the money there. Liverpool have always been run by a business. If it makes sense, we'll do it. So I wouldn't completely say the Florian Wirtz stuff is an absolute load of nonsense. Then again, people say, "Oh yeah, it was Coutinho money." Okay, we spent big money on Fabinho. We spent big money on. Was willing to obviously spend big money on Caicedo. We spent what 60, 70 million on Dominic Szoboszlai. So acting like Liverpool can't spend big money. Like when it matters and when they feel like it's right, they will do it. And I'm just really intrigued, if I'm being honest with you, to see if this story is going to become more reliable. So obviously, yeah, Kick as the source also said Florian Wirtz met with Liverpool as well as Manchester City on Tuesday when he flew to England. Liverpool are actively now in the race for Wirtz, and obviously, yeah, Liverpool are throwing their hat in the ring. So it's going to be really interesting, man, to see if this story does somewhat develop into a story. Is it going to? I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, look, if you said to me, there has been reports, by the way, that Liverpool would want a creative somewhat 10, because there's reasons why we're being linked with Cherky. There's reasons why we've been linked with Simon. So it's obviously that Liverpool do have an area of interest in that area of the pitch, and obviously that's where Florian Wirtz plays for Bayer Leverkusen. So you know what I wouldn't be shocked as with the players that we're being linked to in Frimpong, in Wirtz, etc. I won't be totally shocked if Arne Slot tweaks his style of play next season. If I'm being honest, that's just a personal feeling. But I'm going to be back in 1 second. I'm going to quickly nip to the loo. Right, I am back. What was I gonna do? Yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, make sure you're smashing them likes, people. Let's go through some comments. I would love it. Wirtz would cost 100 to 120 mil plus. IMO facts. We do need to replace Trent. Creativity and Wirtz fills it whether it happens. Exactly. I can see Slot maybe changing his tactics a bit. I can't lie. I mean, I can see it as well. I mean, here's some, for you stat dudes. These are Florence Wirtz's numbers over the past 2 seasons. The 2 big seasons he had for what's his name? For Bayer Leverkusen. So he in the Bundesliga this season, 10 goals, 12 assists. Last season he got 11 goals, 11 assists, very similar numbers. In the Champions League, this season he played 9 games, 6 goals and 1 assist. And then in the Europa League last season, he also got 4 goals, 4 assists in 11 games. He's 22 years old. And obviously for Germany, he played 5 games, scoring 2 goals in the Euros. When he was a baller in the Euros, he was. I would just love it, man. Wirtz is what I call a dream signing. And I go back to the point, like I said before I went toilet. For me, Florian Wirtz is a player you break that bank for. People criticize FSG. Now, I'm not FSG's biggest fans, but I give credit when credit's due. They paid Virgil van Dijk and they gave Mohamed Salah what they wanted. And when it feels right and if it's worth it, Liverpool do it. If they feel like this Florian Wirtz deal and the package and for what it'll cost, let's say 150, 170 or whatever, and obviously about 100 and 120 million pounds to actually get the deal done, I could see Liverpool maybe getting it done. And again, this is what Wirtz is on at Bayer Leverkusen. He is on 86 grand a week. So that's £1 million. And Jonathan Tah is one of the best centre backs in Germany over the past 2 years. So you have to think that Bayer Leverkusen will want to get a decent fee for him. And 100%, they're not going to want to sell him for absolute peanuts. So look, we'll have to wait and see. Right, let me just connect. This up. Why is this not connecting? So look, we're gonna have to wait and see. Obviously regarding the situation. But look, I fully what's this about? Done some digging on Wirtz. So yeah, unlike internal reports, Wirtz never met with Manchester City. His team travelled to England to meet with Liverpool and the representatives. Leverkusen wants £126 million. So apparently they only went to meet Liverpool. Now, if that is true, right? Let's just say it's true. If that is true, then surely then there's some possible around this actual deal then, because you don't invite his representatives over to Liverpool if you have no intention of possibly getting a deal done with the player. You just don't. Yeah, according to Bild, Florian Wirtz and his family was in Liverpool over in Liverpool's officials for over an hour in Blackpool. But yeah, look, for me personally, big up to Adi Oladipo, man. I personally think he is going to Bayern Munich. Bayern Leverkusen want to sell Florian Wirtz to have a Liverpool Manchester City instead of Bayern. Well, yeah, they're going to want to, aren't they? Because you have to think of it. They're selling to a title rival, a team that they've been competing for the title over the past 2 years and competing for trophies. So yeah, that's some news I just read up. Let me just switch this tab back a second while I check. But yeah, we did also see this today, by the way, by Fabrizio Romano, and I think this has some legs in it. Xabi Simon's decision has been made. He's ready to leave RB Leipzig this summer, plan confirmed as reported in recent months. He's ready for a new chapter with top Premier League clubs and Bayern, all attentive to his situation. RB Leipzig aware of the player's plans. Now, if he's on Bayern's radar and they don't get a Florian Wirtz, they could obviously potentially be interested in Simmons. But me personally, if I was a betting man, I'd bet on Wirtz going to Bayern Munich. Look, he's the out and out. He's the next Thomas Muller for them for the next 10 plus years. So, look, 100% he could go to Manchester City. 100% he can go to another club. I just personally think he's going to there. But I do think this is a deal where I do think Liverpool will be on, in my opinion, with Simmons. Obviously, look, they're aware of the deal, so we're just gonna have to wait and see, man. I would love Florian Wirtz. I think he would suit Liverpool to a T, you know. And Liverpool do need a midfielder. I think people are obviously talking about how Liverpool need a striker. They need a left back and a right back. I think you argue they need that creative spark in the middle. I do think Szoboszlai has got attributes and traits to do that, but he's not an out and out creative 10 where he's creating chances after chances like Florian Wirtz or Simmons, for example. But it'd be interesting because, if we actually sign Florian Wirtz, right, I have to answer this question. What do Liverpool's midfield look like? Because after this season, you can't drop McAllister or Gravenberch. I think Szoboszlai is absolutely massively integral into our team. So, and obviously Wirtz is not going to sit on the bench if we were to sign him. So I'd be really intrigued to see, and this is where potentially you could go back to the links of I don't know. Could you honestly potentially be changing his style of play? So we're gonna have to wait and see. So that is the news on the Wirtz links. Now I want to pull up a tab because I did see stuff about Mateus Cunha that I want to read out. So let's pull up the Mateus Cunha stuff, and also Manchester City. You know, they do have an interest, by the way. Obviously, speaking on Manchester City, we know they want Florian Wirtz. They also still want to sign 2 more midfielders in Morgan Gibbs-White and Reinders that was linked with yesterday, and that's obviously the Telegraph reporting. Manchester City mean business, man. Manchester City mean business. You think Manchester City are going to fall away? They spent 200 million in January. They get 60 million for entering the Club World Cup. They get over 100 million if they win the damn tournament. And that money is just going to go reinvest back into the squad. That money goes and gets some Morgan Gibbs White, goes and gets some Reinders. And then obviously they'll spend money if they want to still go and get a Florian Wirtz, for example. So people indicating that Manchester City are not going to be back next season, I think it's absolutely ludicrous and wild. You know, they have got Pep Guardiola a manager. I can understand if Pep Guardiola was leaving after this season they've just had, I could somewhat understand and hear it. But Pep Guardiola is not leaving, and I don't think he's leaving anytime soon, to be honest with you, because why would they be doing all this? Trying to sign Wirtz, trying to sign Gibbs White, Reinders, and other players, etc., potentially spending £200-300 million if Pep Guardiola plans to leave the football club. In my opinion, I just don't think it particularly makes sense. But let's pick up the stuff I did see about Cunha. So Fabrizio, no changes on Manchester United and Mateus Cunha deal. Talks remain ongoing with positive feelings on both sides. The deal remains advanced stages, working on details of the agreement. So it's looking like Manchester United are still going to go and get Mateus Cunha. Man, what a signing that would be. I genuinely think it'll actually be one of the signings of the summer. I think he's an unbelievable season at Wolves. My only worry, if I was a Man U fan, about Cunha signings, not about the stuff that's gone on off the pitch, is how much money have Manchester United got to spend? That would be my worry. If I was a Man United fan, I'd be worrying how much have Man United got to spend, because if you're spending £62 million on Cunha, you have to think you haven't actually got, in terms of from the competitions and stuff, you haven't got money coming in. You know, you haven't got European football as it stands. Now, if you go and win the potential Europa League, you obviously are going to get money. So I do think winning that Europa League is absolutely massive for Manchester United. Forget from a trophy standpoint, in terms of trying to propel that club back up a little bit, trying to bring in, you know, decent buys, trying to bring some more money into the football club, because we know Manchester United needs an absolute more than a rebuild, need a full repair. You know, you have got some sprinkles of players that are decent, like your Amad Diallo's, like Yeleni Euros, who have been good for them this season. So that would be my only worry as a Manchester United fan. If you're a Manchester United fan, I would be worried, because you're just thinking, where is the money really coming in from? Now, like I said, if you win the Europa League, then obviously it is an absolute massive boost, and it absolutely changes a lot of things. So winning the Europa League is absolutely massive for them. So I'll be intrigued to see who else they would be linked with. because I think Man United need a lot of players. I think they need a goalkeeper. I think they need a left back, another centre back. You can argue a couple of midfielders. You need a left winger. I think you need a striker. And you're not going to get all that done in one window. But it's about getting the priorities in, getting a striker in, because Rasmus Højlund is simply not good enough. Joshua Zirkzee is not a goal scorer. Bringing in a left winger because Alejandro Garnacho is just simply not good enough. Bringing in a left back because the left backs aren't good enough. Bringing in a centre back because obviously you need someone to back up with De Ligt and Lenny Euro. And bringing in players that Ruben Amorim wants. If this Man United are in a stage now where I've seen a couple of Man United fans want that Ruben Amorim out, and you have to question it. You back to square one. Do you keep doing the back to square one thing, needing new players again? Then that manager wants his own style of players, and you have to change everything all over again. I think you're at a point now with Ruben Amorim where you can kind of see what he wants to do, but he needs his own stylistic of players. I think you're at a point now where you're going to have to stick with Ruben Amorim and hope it works to somewhat of a degree. And your new stadium and everything that's going to be coming with it will obviously help the football club a lot more financially as well, because it's going to be 100,000 seater stadium and everything else around the ground as well. So it's an interesting summer for Manchester United, and also with the links of Bruno Fernandes potentially leaving the football club, Saudi. So if you're Man United and you get 100 million for Bruno, I think you have to take it. I think you have to absolutely take it with both hands. Forget what he's done this season as a captain. I actually think he's been good as a captain this season. I think he's actually dragged you out of games this season and been an absolute massive reason why you've got to the Europa League final. But 100 million plus the money you'll get for the Europa League, and then you'll spend up a couple of bits of more money as well. I think that's just absolutely massive, and that could fill in a lot of the holes that you need and help Ruben Amorim get the players in that he obviously needs for the club. So again, I'm going to be really intrigued to see what happens. I'm surprised not many more people are actually invested and actually trying to possibly get Matheus Cunha, because he's a quality player, man. And I think for £60 million, he starts for a lot of clubs. He starts for Liverpool, in my opinion. He starts for Arsenal. I think he starts for Manchester City. He obviously starts for Tottenham. I think he starts for genuinely every single Premier League club. And I'm being deadly serious here. Name me a club he doesn't start for. Because he starts for Liverpool up front. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen there with Matheus Cunha. And look, he's had a very good season, especially with Wolves. For a very poor Wolves attacking side, he still managed to get 15 goals and 6 assists in 31 games in a very poor Wolves setup this season. And he's been very good for Pereira this season, the manager of Wolves. So it's, for £62 million, you genuinely cannot go wrong. He can play in multiple positions. He can play as the 10, the 9 for you lot. So, and yeah, man, he's actually been in the league for 3 seasons. I actually didn't know. That's actually kind of mad. He's actually been in the Premier League for 3 seasons. And obviously it's looking like he's actually sorting the off the pitch stuff. That's been a big drama with Matheus Cunha. And look, for the price, anything, you can't go wrong. You just have to whether to think, look, is the money going to really, again, what I'm trying to say is that, again, just how much money have you guys got to spend this summer? Because I think it's absolutely massive for you lot. But make sure you are smashing the like button, you're subscribing to the channel. Let me pull up this. Let Let me just check a couple of things. Oh my god. We have had David Ornstein. Breaking news. David Ornstein. David Ornstein bomber. David Ornstein bomber, guys. While live. Liverpool make contact with Florian Wirtz to express interest in signing playmaker if he leaves Bayer Leverkusen. Is keen on moving to England. LFC admiration long-standing but unclear whether the 22-year-old plans to exit Bayer Leverkusen. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Might have to change the title. Wow. So is the links true? Wow, wow, wow. Please. Oh my god. So the links and the reports, that was true. Liverpool have made contact with his camp. Oh my god, please. I just don't want to get too gassed. I'm just gonna try and not get too gassed about this because I full well damn know I'm gonna get gassed. Oh, please, Liverpool, man. I would love it. And again, I think I deserve it. So, is the Wirtz rumors true? That's the question, people. Look, is the Wirtz rumors true? Yeah, just check some. What's this saying? Yeah, just check some. So, is the rumors, man, that we saw earlier today regarding Florian Wirtz for Liverpool's camp, are they becoming potentially true? Let me just text my mate about this. Flipping out. Now everyone on Twitter is like exploding. Wow, David Ornstein has come out and said something again. So what is this? So David Ornstein. Liverpool's admiration is long-standing, but it is unclear whether Wirtz intends to depart the team or the country he is planning in present. Should this emerge as a general possibility, the Right, we're back. I genuinely had another power cut again. Great. Absolutely fantastic. Let me see if that's fixed. Is my audio working? But yeah, there's something in this then, the dream. Yeah. It genuinely is all just a dream, really. Whether it genuinely is just a dream whether Liverpool could get a Florian Wirtz. In my opinion, look, now take the David Ornstein post with a pinch of salt, but there's something in the air then that Liverpool have. Obviously, everyone's going to have an interest in Florian Wirtz, but the fact that Liverpool have met basically with his camp and stuff, but basically, this is the interesting part: whether that intends to depart the team or the country at the present. That's the interesting bit for me, because if he leaves the country, it could be a Manchester City or a Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? That's the part you're looking at. Wirtz, how about you leave Germany, mate? You come and join the Premier League champions. A team that's going to be competing in the Champions League again next season. And come and have a laugh over here at Anfield, mate. You'd be absolutely fully welcomed. But we are going to have to wait for more probably news to be unravelled. But yeah, make sure you're smashing up the like buttons, people. You're subscribing to the channel. It is obviously much appreciated. But yeah, David Ornstein. But we have to, let's go back to the actual original post that he actually tweeted. Why is it not loading his Twitter? Right, there we go. See, Liverpool have made contact. Oh man, you know what's going to happen? Fabrizio Romano is going to tweet something. Right, let's actually have a look, because don't be surprised if Fab has tweeted something. Okay, doesn't want to. I don't know what's happening, man, with my connection. Not Sarb from BNR. Right, let's quickly add that post back up. So yeah, that is the David Ornstein post. People, we are going to go. We've done an hour on the show today. Make sure you're smashing up the like button, subscribing to the channel. We are going to be keeping up to date with the latest Liverpool content and transfers and other clubs as well across over the summer. But until then, take care, and we'll be back tomorrow. Potentially more news with Florian Wirtz. We hope, fingers crossed, but we are gonna have to wait and see regarding that situation. But yeah, take care and goodbye.